Welcome to Get a Life podcast with Kristen
and Steve.
Together, we are certified life and business coaches and consultants. Join us as we give you practical steps to realistic subjects based on our experiences that are attainable and you can apply to your life today to start seeing results.
We will talk about subjects such as time management, organizing your day, your purpose, getting beyond your past, and many other topics.
We want to help you take the next step. We will use our experiences and life journey to help you shorten yours. So grab a cup of coffee, put your earbuds in at your desk, or go for a run, and let's get a life together. Welcome to Get a Life podcast. I am Kristen.
I'm Steve.
And today is episode 9. Wow, we're getting up there, Steve. We're doing good.
Right along.
We don't know how many's watching, but we're moving right along.
We're on number 9.
Number 9, and we are going to be talking about
fear
of failure. I asked about 4 times, but that's what happens. So Steve's going to give you a definition, I bet. So let's see.
I'm going to get there in a minute. So again, as always, we're just going to kind of touch the surface of this, get your wheels turning as with other podcasts, and get you thinking about some things. One of the leading causes for someone pausing in their purpose or holding back in their purpose, not taking that next step, is a fear of failure.
Yes.
That's a leading cause for somebody not going forward. You'll hear some people say, well, I have commitment issues. Well, a commitment issue is due to a failure.
Well,
it's fear of failure.
And kind of about like we talked about last week, because of a life experience.
Correct.
Now some of these are where this kind of goes into.
Correct. Something failed before.
Yep.
You
Yep.
don't want a similar situation to fail again, so you have a fear of failure. People with commitment issues in relationships, typically because they've been through a bad relationship, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, so they're afraid to commit again. If I step into this new relationship, it'll fail. So they hold back in that area. So where does this fear come from? So the definition of failure is lack of success. And that may seem obvious, but again, I think that definition helps you to start thinking about, where does my fear of failure come in? Where have I had lack of success in life that has now produced a fear somewhere? We're designed to be successful people. We're designed to desire success.
Yes.
Because of this, it's easy to allow a level of fear to creep in.
Sure.
And hold us back, especially when we try something new, because we don't want to let ourselves down, or we don't want to let someone else down.
Right.
So it produces a level of fear of failure in your life. When buildings get old, if a building isn't maintained properly, they'll say the structure failed.
Right.
Buildings will fall down. The
Right.
structure fails. In life, sometimes we fear failure because if I fail at this, it's attached to another part of my life, like a building.
Yeah.
My structure can fail. I got a new job. Because we got this new job of making more money, we can go buy a house now. But what if I fail at the job? We now can't go buy that house. So there's a fear of failure because that failure is linked to something else. So how do I keep my life structure like a building to the point where it doesn't fail? It requires maintenance, maintaining, always developing ourselves.
Right.
And in order to maintain a structure in the natural, a house, a building, you have to remodel from time to time. You have to add some new things in there time to time. Same in our life. To maintain our structure so it doesn't fail, we have to try new things.
Yes.
That's where fear of failure can come in. But trying new things leads to finding parts of your purpose you didn't know existed.
Right, but even your failures show you a lot of times what your purpose is.
They do.
Yeah. People don't look at it always that way, but it's the truth.
It's very much the truth.
Yeah.
Failure will show you some things.
Yes.
So we'll kind of stop. We could go really deep into that, and
Right.
that might be another podcast. But back to the initial question, where does fear come from? How and why does it present itself? Is fear a personality thing?
No.
It's not personality at all?
I think some people would disagree with me because they say some people have, like, there's other personality tests that we do. Some people have a, I guess, background of
Fear-based.
fear-based, they're image-based, or they are, what's the other one? Repressed anger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess so, but
It can be. I think the key with that is if fear is part of your personality and you're aware of that, there's an awareness there.
yeah,
So now you know how to deal with it. What I've seen people do is they'll use their personality of fear as a crutch and
they'll
an
say,
excuse.
well, I'm fearful of that, so I'm not going to do that.
Right. We can't use that. We have to use
It's
that.
it's a great awareness of
Right.
yourself.
We
but-
need to use that as a component to propel us and push ourselves beyond that fearful personality.
Yes,
Does fear come from past failures and experiences?
absolutely.
Probably more so than
More so
personality.
than personality.
Okay. Does fear come from simply not having the skills you need to do something?
Yeah, because you want to
Sure.
be able to do the job perfectly, and if you don't have the skills, you can't.
Yeah. Like every topic, not everything is a negative. So sometimes the fear of failure just comes from, I don't know that I have the skills
To do
this
this.
job, this
Right.
new job or
Right.
whatever. It can be that, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. You know, a young person who maybe went to college and they graduated may have a fear of failure because I've got all the book knowledge I need, but I've never actually done the job. So I'm stepping into this job that I've gone to 4 years or whatever, 2 years, 10 years of school for,
Yeah.
but I've not actually done it. So a fear of failure can come in. Am I really going to have the skills I need to do this job? Anything else that you can think of that may produce or causes a fear of failure?
No, I feel like those three are kind of what.
Those are the big,
Those are the big ones.
kind of the big three
Yeah.
that would cause a fear of failure.
Yeah.
So now, what can we do to overcome that fear of failure? I'm putting you on the spot. Any thoughts?
Well, a lot of times is you got to jump right back in and you got to keep going. You've
Okay.
got to keep doing it, or you're just gonna.
Or try something new. Okay,
or
that
try-
didn't work.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Yep.
And fear of failure.
I guess that's basically what I was saying. Like, get back in the game. Go try it again. Do it again.
Fear of failure will stop people up because
For the rest of their
they
lives.
have such a fear of failure that they won't try something new because what if it fails?
Yeah,
Listen,
but you got to say, but what if it does?
right. I'm going to tell you something. If you have never failed at something in life, you've never tried anything new.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Period.
So you can say all day long, what if it doesn't work? What if this doesn't turn out the way I want it to? What if it does? Like, you don't know unless you try.
If you have connections with some very successful people in your life, maybe a business owner or something that will be open with you, sit and ask them.
Yeah.
Tell me about times you're very successful. Tell me about a time when you failed in life. And I bet you'd be surprised at the stories they will tell you. Read about professional sports
Oh,
athletes.
yeah.
They all have stories of failure. If you haven't failed at something, you haven't tried
Yeah. Anything. Yeah.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to get beyond and not allow that fear of failure. And again, it might be different reasons, but it could just be, okay, I wasn't supposed to even do that. That's not my skill set. Okay, move on. Let's
Okay,
find my
do
skill
something
set.
different. Yeah.
Find something different. Sometimes it just requires a time of reset. Sometimes
Yeah.
failing at something causes you, okay, I just need to walk away and come back to this. When you had your baking business, how many times did you have to walk away from that cake
heavens.
and come back? And when you came back, boom, it worked just like that.
And I tell my kids that one of my daughters is an artist, and she'll be working on something, and she's like, I'm just really frustrated. I said, then that tells me you need to put it down. You need to go outside. You need to go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come back, it's just going to be lickety split, and every single time. So I already know that. So it's funny because I'll be out, or I was out working on cakes, and she'd come in. She's like, Mom, I think it's time to walk away. And I was like, yep, I need to.
And that's her
And
recognizing.
It's her recognizing I was getting frustrated, so I just need to walk away. And it's true. You come back and you have a clearer mind, and you can finish it.
Sometimes that's the best advice we can give people
Yeah.
that are struggling with
Yes.
things. I remember I went to trade school 22 years ago to be a carpenter. And this sticks out to me like it happened yesterday. There was a certain project we were working on individually. We had to do different projects, and we had to pass them, and I was struggling with this. And I remember the instructor said, Steve,
Yeah.
walk away from it
Mm-hmm.
and come back tomorrow. Okay. I mean, I ruined so much material trying to do this certain task. I walked away.
Yeah.
I came back the next day. In my first try, I got it right. And he looked at me and said, I told you so.
Yeah.
Sometimes your brain just isn't in the right place.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I
don't know what it is.
is.
Sometimes walking away resets
Yep.
and let me go back to that task
Yep.
that I seem to be failing at. So
Yep.
failure isn't always the end all. I failed at it. This isn't what I'm meant to
Right.
do.
That's what I'm saying. Get back at it.
Trying something different, trying
Right.
it a different way, a new approach. Let me look at it a different way. Let me try it a different way.
Right.
Sometimes dealing with failure is trial and error. It doesn't just indicate that you're not supposed to do this.
Right.
Okay. So there's different things different ways you have to look at that. It can be a timing issue sometimes. Failing can be a timing issue. I tried this too early.
True.
You come back to something that you tried 3 years ago and now it works. Okay.
Right.
It was a timing issue maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get your ducks in a row better. You need to get your details all straightened out better. This podcast, for an example, we're using this really as a mode to get our name out there for our life coaching business. That's the purpose of doing the podcast. It's
Right.
not to become famous podcasters.
No.
That's not what we're looking for.
No.
We're wanting to get our name out there and people to hear what we have to offer so that maybe makes them comfortable and say, I think they can help us out. That's why we're doing it.
We can connect with so many other people that might not necessarily
Right.
need a life coaching, but they do like to hear some life
Stuff.
stuff.
So this is a step in our process because I believe if we just would have said, okay, we're just going to forget the podcast, we're going to do a life coaching business, we're going to advertise, and nobody's calling us, and then it would have produced a level of failure
Yeah, I think so.
rather than starting here and gradually moving into
Right.
that. Because we talk about life in such a broad scope, let me ask you this. What if someone listening has had relationship failures and they desire to be in a relationship again, but they fear failure, so they struggle with a level of commitment? How can a person get to the point that they get beyond this?
Well, I guess I'll just use myself.
That's what
and
I was
it's-
hoping. We didn't talk about this before, but I was hoping you'd use
I
your
would use
example.
myself as an example because I think number one would be change the type of person that you are looking for. And that's all I'm really going to say about that. But change, if you see a pattern of the type of people that you are attracted to or who you are wanting to be with, and there's a whole different person that
They're not working out.
none of those ever worked out. There's a pattern. So I'm like, okay, I need to find people that don't have these personality traits, or I don't know how to explain qualities or whatever.
Yeah.
I need to go way over here and let me start looking down this list instead. And I'm going to tell you about 98% of the time, you're going to find who you're supposed to be with.
And it may be the complete opposite.
It will be absolutely the complete opposite.
You tell or I tell the story when you said
Okay,
he's
so
not my type.
So my type was always the bad boy leather jacket.
That's not me.
That's your
That is not me.
That was always.
I have a leather jacket, but I'm not a bad boy.
Yeah, no. For whatever reason, I was attracted to that. I think I always wanted to try to fix people or help them or make them feel better
Right.
about their lives, and that list did not work out. So way back when it wasn't even cool, Steve and I met on a Christian dating website. It wasn't even cool then.
Back when, if you told people that, they looked at you
They
like
look at
you're
you like,
weird.
oh, that's weird.
Right.
Okay,
No,
but
mine-
we're weird, whatever. But so he sent me, I'm like, oh, he seems so nice, and we were talking, whatever, so he sent me a picture of himself. And I'm like, oh, man. I said to my friend, I'm like, that is not my type. And she said, and your type has worked out well? And I'm like, no, good point. So I gave him a chance, even though he looked like he was 12. He wasn't, but
was
he just looked,
23,
he just
22,
was just the
right.
complete, utter opposite of who I would have normally picked for myself.
Correct.
But God chose somebody different, and he said, there, take that. And we've been married for 16 years.
Going on 19 years. So.
For God's sakes. So we've been married for 19 years.
It's been that long.
Yeah. I'm not good with numbers, as you
No,
can
she's
tell.
not.
I'm not.
I am.
I'm just not.
So that's her life example of a relationship that didn't work. Multiple relationships that didn't work. I don't mean
Okay,
it in that
Steve,
way.
okay.
Hundreds. No, a few relationships that didn't work.
Right.
She could have and let's backtrack. You took a time of reset.
I took almost a 2 year of not dating, not even
Right.
talking to anybody.
That's important.
I really
to
kept
know.
myself kind of secluded for a little bit after the very last relationship, which was horrible. Like, I needed to find myself again. Sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
What made me decide that I needed to find myself again is I got a new apartment, and Mom came in and she's like, well, what style do you like? And I just stood there and I'm like, I have no idea. I had completely lost my identity
were.
and who I was for so long that I mean, now you ask me what my decorating style is. Oh my gosh, we'll talk about that all day long. But at that point, and so that's when I kind of knew, like, I've got to find myself again. So it was a good 2 years.
And that's sometimes you see people, and for whatever reason we're focusing on relationships the most. So there's
Yeah.
some people out there.
I
that
guess
need to
so.
hear
Some
this.
people need to hear it.
But you see people. I mean, again, we've worked with counseling people a lot over the years that they struggle in relationships, and relationship after relationship fails, but they'll never give them a time. They'll never take a break.
Right.
They constantly go from the next one to the next one to the next one to the next one.
next.
Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And we've told people before, you need to take a break. And some of this is trauma stuff where they just can't be alone.
That's true.
They have to be in a
That's
relationship.
true.
But if you're that desperate to be in a relationship and it keeps not working out, that is a telltale sign you need to take a break
Yeah.
and focus on yourself. And that will help you to eliminate that fear of failure, that lack of commitment, because I keep trying this and it keeps failing.
Yeah.
Let me use the example of in a job. You start a new job, you try a new job, and you fail at it. It's not your thing, it's not your skill set, whatever. Just because you fail at a job doesn't mean you're a bad employee, you're a
Absolutely
bad
not.
worker.
No.
I could try to go be a nurse or something like that, and I'm going to tell you I'm going to fail at it. Number one, because I have work ethic, but I'm going to have zero interest in it.
Right.
And it's just not my skill set. So just because you fail in a job doesn't mean you're a failure, but it can produce a fear of failure. Okay, well, now I got to go find a different job, and what if I fail at that job?
Right.
What if this job doesn't work out? So how do I overcome that fear of failure in this scenario? My advice to you is reevaluate your skills and your talents.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
What am I
that's good.
skilled in? What do I enjoy? What interests me? What's your purpose? Find out what your purpose is. Though I understand you may not always be able to find a job that fits your purpose, you might not have time to. You got to pay your bills. So maybe you can't do that. But if you can find a job that's geared more towards your skill set, your talents, your purpose, you're going to set yourself up for success. Rather than taking a job that you know nothing about and it really doesn't even interest you, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
Though I understand there's times when you have to take those kind of situations.
Yes.
So that's something else that you can look at in this area of fear of failure. Again, it all goes back to what's my purpose. Kristen used the example in relationships. She lost her purpose and her identity.
Yeah.
She was entering into relationships that did not line up with really truly who she was as a person.
Correct.
We have to look at that even in other relationships, friends, business relationships.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me a question a while ago in a business leaders group that I'm part of. If you were to partner with somebody in business, what would you look at? How would that work? I'd say, first of all, I'd have to have a relationship with that person. My values,
Yeah.
my integrity, my character, what I believe in, how I handle things would have to line up with theirs.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yeah.
Because it's a business relationship that's not going to work.
Right.
Same things with whether it be spouses or just friends.
Yeah.
You've got to find people that fit who you are so it leads to success rather than failure. So failure is something that affects all parts of our lives, and it's how we deal with it so that we don't always live in the mode of I have a fear that I'm going to fail at this, or this.
Right.
So it's identifying those things. So there's multiple examples in life that can present itself and produce a fear of failure.
Yeah.
Again, you can't cover
I was just
everything,
gonna say that. Yeah.
but we hope this got your wheels turning, get you thinking, give you some awareness of some things to think about. And at the end of the day, life is about getting better.
Yes.
Finding more peace,
Yes.
finding more success. We're here on this earth for a very short time. A very short time. I heard somebody say once, a minister said this example, and I'm probably going to mess this all up because this just came to my mind, but he said, when somebody passes away, that gravestone has a date of when they were born, a date of when they died, and a dash in between. What does that dash represent? That dash represents a whole lot of things.
It does.
But it's only this big. And at the end of the day, we're only here in the whole scheme of things for this much time. So let's get beyond failure.
Let's get beyond
let's find
misery.
our purpose.
Yes.
Let's find what we're here on earth for. And if you need help, find somebody that can help you out.
Get some help. So life
Don't
isn't
sit and struggle.
No.
Find somebody, life coach, counselor, pastor, co-worker, friend, I don't care who it is. Find somebody that can help guide you and get you to that next step. Anything else you want to add?
That's it.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening to today's podcast. As always, you can reach us at skyoungconsulting@gmail.com or on Facebook at skyoungconsulting. So we look forward to you joining us next time. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Our goal is that you have some practical steps that you can implement today at Getting a Life. Don't forget to come back next week as we continue to talk about the subjects that will help you reach your life goals. If you want more information about what we do, you can reach us at skyoungconsulting@gmail.com. That's S as in Steve, K as in Kristen, Young, YOUNG, consulting@gmail.com, or our Facebook page, SK Young Consulting. And please share our podcast with your friends. See you next time, and remember, you control your day. Don't let your day control you.